All right. Welcome. This is gonna be episode one. Testing things out, trying things out a little bit. Trying to find what is the way I want to do this, I guess. But welcome. Think back and relax. So today we're gonna go off of um something that I have thought about, something that I have wrote, and something that I have that means a bit to me, and that is the universe of the mind. So with that, I have wrote this. Imagine when you close your eyes, being able to see everything within your own universe that is your mind. Seeing people just like me and you, but living their own life in their own world on their own earth. They also believe in a god or higher power. They are seeking answers, yet they don't realize that the answers are within. We are all a god to our inner universe. So for me, that kind of means a few things. So in one way, there's like the saying of we all have a piece of God in us. Me myself, I am not like a super religious person. I've always said that I believe in a higher power, something that is bigger than us, something or someone, or whether that's, some people would maybe want to say possible, like another form of life. Some people, like, I would more so probably go towards the higher being just the universe in general. So with that, um yeah, it means a couple different things. To me, like the only person or being that can change that like universe that's within inside you is of course us. Um and it's very interesting because to me, uh like it's the emotions that we feel, the food that we eat, the stress that we endure, the pretty much everything that we do in our own life affects that inner universe. So if we um eat unhealthy foods, it could mean that that inner universe has less resources. It means that possibly, with stress and with some of that stuff, it could be storms and earthquakes and natural disasters that are overcoming uh, the inner universe. So that'd be on a planet that would have that would be able to actually have beings itself. But for the whole universe perspective, it would be like meteor showers and um like solar flares, that kind of stuff. So uh and of course, like, sadness and all that stuff can also change atmosphere, um along with, if we are like, yeah, just like mentally unwell, it could bring like more darkness. It could bring yeah, worse weather. It could bring like a whole lot of stuff. And the healthier that you are, the more stable, like, the healthier you are, it would mean that the more stable the atmosphere, the universe, etc., would be all for that inner universe, which would mean that it would have the beings on that inner universe would be able to probably do much more and grow and excel quicker, knowing that they don't have to just survive, but they actually have the comfortability to be able to move forward in life and to push their species, I guess, forward. Um, but it's always super interesting to me that when you think about it, that if there is an inner universe in us and they look up to their sky, and they are wanting and they're wondering about a God. And to them, if we are what holds that universe, then we are that God. If we, depending on what we are intaking, is changing their atmosphere, their storms, their whole entire world, wouldn't that make us God? And if they are within us, we created them, which is always a super interesting thing to me. And of course, if that would be the case, and people have always said in the whole theory that the universe and all this stuff is infinite, what if we are inside of somebody else's inner universe? And so then this just scales and it keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. But why do we think of it as being smaller? Because, like, what if size isn't really necessarily a thing when it comes to that scale? So basically, as it comes down and gets smaller and smaller and smaller, at what point does it then blow up into its own universe? And also the whole Big Bang, that it was they always say that it was like a pinpoint that then basically exploded into what is all here. So what if that explosion, that Big Bang, was that point inside every one of us that then explodes into its own universe? And what if that is within another being? Which, like, the deeper you go into it, the crazier it gets, and you can explore it way further and do all this kind of it's like a mental exercise. It's like an experiment of just like letting your mind think about this stuff, letting it explore what could be, and try to pick it apart, try to look at it in different ways, I guess. And so when you think about it that way, it's less of a you taking care of yourself and you or not taking care of yourself. If you are sitting, eating unhealthy foods, not exercising, not really doing much other than just trying to survive, you realize that what if that is affecting things that are inside and within a different universe, then it might give a little bit more motivation to take care of them and look at it more bigger than just yourself. Looking at if I do this, it's not that I'm doing this for me, but I'm doing this for somebody else, or something that they have no choice in this. And I am the one that has the power to change this. So it gives a little bit more motivation. It gives a little bit more of a reason to really grind down, to really grit your teeth and push through, and do that little bit of an exercise. Work out 15 minutes a day. Go on a walk. Instead of going and eating fast food, making an at-home meal, and just really be a little more conscious about what you're doing for your own life, especially if you know that it could be affecting a whole universe. That is, keep saying it. I keep saying it. So in a way, of course, then God is considered to be, a creator and a destroyer. It can create and it can destroy. So if you are taking care of yourself and you are doing all this good stuff and you're, exercising, eating well, doing all that, you are then creating. But if you are not taking care of yourself, you're not exercising, you are eating unhealthy foods, you're kind of destroying what's there, and you're taking away resources, you're taking away comfortability, you're taking away all these things from these inner beings. And it's instead of looking at it after looking at it as within an inner universe, and you think about it, yeah, as you being one of those beings inside one of these inner universes, it makes you realize what your life is. It makes you kind of contemplate on, what you're living in, and what maybe just how much power you truly have as a person. Then the universe itself is a very interesting piece of it, because on a more conventional level of universe, you just think of space, you just think of, all these planets, you think of all these things. But when you connect it to uh the mind, the possibility that there might be even more universes that are around, that are even closer to you than what you believe, it opens up so many possibilities. Now, I'm not exactly sure where I want to go from here on this subject, but maybe we can move on to one other thing. So here's another thing that I wrote um, a while back. I can't remember exactly when it was, but let's go through it. This one is the nature of the universe's consciousness. So I said, the question is not if the universe is conscious, but rather how its consciousness reveals itself. For in every breath, every star, every being, there's a rhythm that feels too precise to be accident, too mysterious to be mere chance. Consciousness is often seen as thought, as awareness contained in the skull. But the universe teaches us otherwise. A river flows without thinking, yet it carves canyons with patience. A star burns without intention, yet it creates the very elements that breathe life into our veins. Intelligence is intelligence here is not calculation. It is the silent wisdom of becoming. The universe is both the dream and the dreamer. It births galaxies as effortlessly as seeds sprout from soil. We are not separate from this vast mind, we are its reflection. Just as the ocean is aware through its waves, the universe is aware through us. When we wonder if it is conscious, it is the universe asking itself the very same question. Intelligence lies in its balance of chaos and order. Planets collide and stars explode, yet that destruction, new worlds and new beginnings rise. It is as if the cosmos breathes in cycles: creation, dissolution, and rebirth. The same rhythm that beats in your heart echoes in the spirals of galaxies. Perhaps the universe's consciousness is not like our own, not bound by thought or ego. Instead, it is awareness of connection, the intelligence of harmony. It whispers through intuition, through synchronicities, through the quiet reminder that everything belongs to everything else. We are the eyes of the universe gazing back upon itself. We are the voice of the stars speaking into the silence. To ask if the universe is conscious is to awaken to the truth that its consciousness has always been flowing through us, waiting to be recognized. So I think it's a very thought-provoking writing. It's an eye-opener that the universe itself basically uses us to look at itself. That the universe as a whole is not able to look at itself, to be aware of itself, because it's so grand. But if it uses what's inside to then look back on its own, it kind of, like I said, was the waves of the ocean. The ocean itself, if you look at it as the ocean being, if the ocean itself was a being, it would not be able to look at itself because it's so grand. But if it feels through all these waves that cover its entire being, it would be able to then kind of know itself. So if the universe is filled with these beings or filled with us, then us as a whole, we are just a reflection on a smaller scale, to its own. And that those two passages that I wrote are very close to each other. They are kind of connected in its own way, and it's the fact that if we are a universe in our own self, then those beings within us is how we get to know that our own self. It's not that it's all this stuff subconsciously, all these decisions, all these small little things deep within us that we get to kind of look at our own being in that way. But you have to be open to seeing it, and you have to be open to feeling it and having an open mind and in general to allow their voices, their eyes, their questions to really sit with you. And just realizing that if that inner universe was not there, would we be able to truly know ourself? And I understand that these questions are very deep, very like existential, very uh it's a different way of thinking. It's not your normal day to day, just trying to survive the day, go to your 9 to 5, do what you gotta do, come home, chill out, relax, watch a show. This is something much deeper. It's something that I feel like people don't think about nearly enough, is just asking the questions on why are we here? What are we? What is consciousness? What is the universe? What is the mind? Um and I feel like it is a big missing part that we don't really understand, and I don't think that we ever truly will understand the full perspective of it. But I think that we can sure try to at least be more conscious, to be more aware on what it truly is. Um, the other part with this was the balance of order and chaos. That's something that I think so many people kind of look past in life. That everybody wants, of course, everybody normally would want like a utopia, a place where everything is perfect, that there's no crime, that there's no violence, that there's nothing bad in the world. Now, uh, actually, I think I have a trying to find. I have another passage that talks about some of that. But I'll try to go off of the mind here. So, if there was a world that everything was good, in a way, that would mean you can't have anything that's just purely good through and through. If you have something that is purely good, there's always got to be something that will keep it in check. And so if you had a world of pure evil, well, it's going to destroy itself because the fact that it's going to be nonstop fighting at each other. These beings will be attacking, fighting, stealing, doing all this stuff, and it will just explode because of the fact that that species will take itself out. But yet, if you have something that's purely good in the world, they'll be taken advantage of. They will be the prey. Um or they will be the, uh basically the little bit of evil in the world will take advantage, and they will basically rip that whole good species apart. And so within everything, there has to be this balance of good and evil. There has to be there's not a single person that's purely good. There's not a single person that is purely evil. There's always going to be a tiny bit of each, no matter what, in there. So there's like the whole yin and yang within the side of order. There's going to be a little dot of chaos, and within the entire side of chaos, there's going to be a little dot of order. Which is, the more that you realize that, the more that you see that, the more that you can try to get that pendulum that swings of chaos and order within yourself. You can try to get it pretty stable and try to get that little swing just a little bit better. And you can also try to get it to where you are, the side of order with that little bit of chaos of, you do most things right, you take care of yourself in all these different ways, but you might have one thing that's just pretty minuscule. So like for me, I would say, I do pretty good of taking care of myself, but there's little things of like procrastination, and there's like little, for like addiction wise, let's say, the only really one that I have would be caffeine. Which is, especially in this day and age, it's very odd to only have that. Um, but I've also done a lot of work to be aware of my surroundings, be aware of myself, be aware of the good and evil that's within the world. Um, let's go to, what else is there? What is there? Um, hmm. Not really sure. I don't want to go too deep with too many different passages. I want them to kind of coincide with each other, which is why I grabbed these two. These are actually, we might be able to go to one more. Let me see real quick. So, ooh, actually, I wonder if we can talk about maybe the soul a little bit. Ooh, actually, this is a great little piece to go in with this. So let's actually go through this. So I have another piece called Nature of the Soul, and here it is. The soul is the quiet spark that exists beyond body and beyond thought. It is not bound by flesh nor chained to memory, but instead it flows as something timeless, something that existed long before you were born and will remain long after your body returns to Earth. It is to the universe. It is this essence that gives life to the body, the unseen driver of your being, the whisper that guides you even when logic has no words. While the body is the vehicle, the soul is the light that fuels the journey. Without the soul, the body is only clay. The soul holds knowledge the mind cannot always reach. It carries fragments of experiences beyond this lifetime. Wisdom hidden in silence, intuition felt rather than explained. It is where the deepest truths reside. The truths that cannot be written in books or spoken in words, only known in the heart. The soul is both fragile and unbreakable. Fragile because it feels the weight of existence so deeply, and yet unbreakable because no storm, no loss, no suffering can destroy what is eternal. It weaves through lifetimes like a golden thread, tying together every version of you, every lesson learned, and every piece of growth. To understand the soul is to look beyond surface and into the unseen. To listen when the world is quiet, to feel when the mind is still. But the soul is not something you search for outside yourself. It has always been there, waiting, glowing, and reminding you that you are more than what you see in the mirror. The nature of the soul is eternal becoming. It is the part of you that never stops evolving, never stops learning, never stops reaching for the truth of what it was created to be. So this ties into the rest of everything that we just even talked about, because if you think about the soul, what if that soul being ignited within your being? So your being birth. So what if when you are born, that soul comes into the body and is turned on? And what if that itself is what if that could be that big bang, that all of a sudden the universe is basically ignited and it blows up, and you can almost watch the universe unfold in front of you. Now, of course, an infant, and what if, as you grow up, the inner universe is expanding and expanding and expanding, and let's say by the time you're, you know, 8 years old, all of a sudden planets start to form. And then all of a sudden, by the time you're 15, all of a sudden you kind of get like the first like being or the first species to really like start becoming a thing. And as time goes on, those beings, those species, the everything within the universe starts to grow. And it's almost like you are taking care of this place without ever knowing. It's never on the forefront of your mind. It's always just subconscious automation within you. I think it's the soul is very unique. We don't know what it is. We don't know what it means. We don't know what the soul contains. Everyone has their own theories. Everyone can think that all these different types of things, but when you look at the world in which we live, why does it seem like us as human beings are one of the only things that truly has a soul? Something that has consciousness as deeply as we do. And is having a soul and consciousness, do they exist together? Or can one exist without the other? These are the questions that I enjoy exploring and walking through. And what's funny about it is actually so many of these things get sparked out of myself listening to a podcast, or just at work on autopilot, doing my job, and all of a sudden something pops in my mind, a word, a phrase, just a random thought, which is where most of these have come from, actually, is when I'm just working and a word or a thought or one of these things just pops in my mind, and I will write it down on my phone real quick, and then I will explore it later on if I would decide to lay down and open my mind and explore what these things are. I've learned a lot more about myself doing this in this way. And of course, learning to just open your mind, and also like trusting yourself that it's not scary to go deeper within your mind. You have to be careful because there's the unknown, and of course we are always afraid of the unknown. But the more comfortable you get with that, the more knowledge, the more wisdom, the more I like to call it like rare like minerals or rare resources you find. Um, but with that, I do believe uh I'm going to end this off there. But that was the first beginning to all of this. A very unique um exploration for myself. Going to be using this for a couple reasons. One, I've always really wanted to do a podcast, and also I am working on writing this book that also talks about all of these things and kind of puts it in a layer, in a way that is very understandable, very digestible, and can actually help people maybe uh, walk through life a little bit easier, see things that maybe they haven't noticed, and look at things in a different perspective that can maybe help them grow as a person. Because really the main reason why I'm here is strictly to I want to make the world a better place, and I want to make people stronger, and just overall just good people. I know that that seems very simple, that seems very logical of just like, well, why wouldn't anybody want that? But I try to do it from the purest uh perspective, the purest way that I possibly can. No judgment, no misunderstanding, that very open-minded of if there is a question, if there is something that uh should be talked about or something that somebody wants to talk about, I'm more than happy to explore that with them and see where it can bring us. Because knowledge is everything, and if the second you stop looking for knowledge and opening your mind to what other people believe or what other people think, then you kind of get stuck. You kind of get to this stalemate. Um, and there really is no wrong answer. People can believe what they want to believe, and you can explore that. And that's not a bad thing. Exploring it, seeing where it might bring, because there might be even if you grab 1% or one little thing from what they say, you could use that for something else, and you can maybe add that into your own beliefs. Uh, and there's going to be probably times where you don't take any of it, but it was at least a good conversation to have going into the future. No conversation is strictly bad. You always can get something out of it. Either even when it's bad, there should be a lesson there to be taught. So with that though, thank you for whoever is still listening. This is of course Think Back and Relax. I hope you have enjoyed, and this is just the beginning, so it's only up from here. Thank you.